was always the girl who was way too shy to talk, period. But when you ask me to talk about Jesus, you can put me in front of a stage of hundreds of people and I can do it with sureness and confidence that doesn't come from me, but it comes from the strength of the Lord. So I did have a dream one night, and in that dream I was like in this all white room, and I know that it was like the throne room. You are gonna use your voice for my kingdom in order to impact thousands of people. I just felt like, oh my gosh, I think it's YouTube. Well, hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. As always, I am so very happy that you are here. For today's video, I'm actually sharing a very special story time. I'm sharing a story that I haven't told most people, only my super close friends, but I just felt like a nudge from the Lord to finally open up and share this story with you guys. So I asked you guys over on my Instagram if y'all wanted to hear the story and the literal dream that God gave me over starting YouTube, and so many of you wanted to hear this story, which made my heart so incredibly happy that you guys were as eager as I am to share it. Y'all were eager to hear it, and so I'm so excited to be sharing the full story here on YouTube. I'm gonna give a little bit of background before the dream of just who I was before Jesus. I go into a lot more depth of that in my testimony video if you want to watch that, but there is some specific details that the Lord really redeemed as he pushed me towards starting YouTube and as he gave me the dream over starting YouTube. So I'm gonna give a little backstory about Brie before Jesus. So when I was growing up and I was in school, I was the most shy and timid person that I knew, especially when it came to like presentations or public speaking or anything of that sort. I have so many memories of being in high school and in college and having to stand up and give a presentation, whether it was by myself or whether it was in groups, and I felt like I was always the weak link. I always felt like I was the one who was so timid and so shy and the one who was literally up there trembling because I had no confidence, I had no self-esteem, and especially when it came to public speaking, that was the weakest area of my life. I always hated it. I dreaded classes that required public speaking, and that was something that didn't change as I entered college. I was always terrified. Like I would remember my voice cracking and just feeling so like petrified of speaking in front of people. I just couldn't do it. I never thought I'd be good at it. And I was like, you know what? I just accept that I'm not gonna be good at this. So another little side note about me before Jesus, I was also extremely and just painfully insecure. I had very low self-esteem, so much to the point so that I remember when people would ask me, Brie, what are you good at? You know, as like a casual question. I remember always answering and genuinely believing at the time that I was good at nothing. So anytime anyone would ask me that question, I would truly answer nothing, that I didn't believe I was good at anything. I never saw any talents in myself. I never thought that I had a passion for anything. I just genuinely believed I was worthless. And so it wasn't until I started following Jesus that the Lord began to redeem all things. And like I said, you can go into more depth of my full testimony over on that video if you want to watch the full thing. But I remember specifically when I started following Jesus, one of the things that surprised me the most of just the redemption in my story was, one, the redemption of my identity and my sense of worth. I began to believe for the first time in my life that I had worth and I had purpose, and that I actually was created for good works and good gifts, and that I actually do have a lot of gifts and talents. And two, something that was so big for me was the fact that I actually found my voice. I, to this day, will say I'm probably a very confident speaker, but if you put me in front of a bunch of people and you ask me to give a presentation over something random, man, I feel like I'm that same girl who my voice trembles and my voice shakes and I feel timid and I feel shy and I feel nervous. But the one thing that I found that changed everything for me was Jesus. You put me in front of a group of people and you ask me to talk about Jesus, and I can just passionately and fervently and confidently share Jesus. So when I began following Jesus, I found my voice, I found my confidence, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I actually am really gifted with my words. I actually am really gifted at teaching others about Jesus. I can passionately talk about Jesus for however long or little someone needs me to talk about. And it was like this redemption of, I was always the girl who was way too shy to talk, period. But when you ask me to talk about Jesus, you can put me in front of a stage of hundreds of people and I can do it with sureness and confidence that doesn't come from me, but it comes from the strength of the Lord. And so that was a huge redemption in my story, which is why if you actually go back to my YouTube channel, if you've been following me in my more recent journey, you actually may be able to go back and realize that I've been filming YouTube videos for a lot longer than this past year. There's some videos on my YouTube channel that trace back as far as 4 or 5 years ago. And that's because the moment I found my voice in Jesus was the moment I wanted to run and tell the world and to celebrate it and use the gift that God had given me to share and proclaim the name of Jesus. And so I would film, like back in the day, some random videos over Jesus and just faith and all that sort of stuff. And yes, they're still on my YouTube. I will never take them down. They are evidence of where the Lord has carried me from to this very day. So most of you guys probably found and learned that I started doing YouTube in 2020, but actually the last video I had filmed before I picked back up again was at the beginning of 2018. So I filmed a video covering shame and guilt, how to find freedom from shame and guilt, and finding your true identity in Jesus. And little did I know, I had no idea when I posted this video that it was going to gain a lot of views. So fast forward to 2020, I had forgotten about this video. I had posted it 2 years prior. I received a DM on Instagram from a sweet girl who I didn't know, and she followed me and just so happened to be subscribed to my YouTube. And she said that in the beginning of 2020, to that very day, 2 years prior to posting my last video on YouTube, that to that day, she had found so much encouragement and strength and faith in my video, and that anytime she struggled with shame and guilt, she would turn on my video, put it on in the background, and play it on repeat because she just felt so encouraged and seen and loved by the Lord through that video. So I remember receiving that DM on Instagram, and truly I bawled my eyes out because something I had completely forgotten I shared way back when was still reaping good fruit to that very day 2 years later. Up until that point, I felt like I was perfectly content with my life and with my job. But once 2020 hit, I just felt like there was this shift in my spirit of discontentment and this shift of, Bree, you were meant for something more. So little did I know that the pandemic would hit and that I would start working from home full time. And with all of this newfound time on my hands, I just really felt like the Lord was stirring in my heart a newness in the way I'm using my creativity, a newness in the way I'm pursuing my time, a newness of what can I do in this season that I haven't been doing in the previous seasons. And so I kind of like contemplated here and there. I was like, maybe in response to receiving this DM from a girl who was so encouraged by my YouTube video 2 years prior, maybe I'll just start posting on YouTube again. So I started posting on YouTube again. There was really no aim, no really effort or goal in mind. I was just like, I'm just gonna post it because this girl and her sweet message just really inspired me to start posting. So in the beginning, I think of March 2020, I like posted my first YouTube video for the first time in 2 years. And then I started posting like very sporadically. I think I started posting every 2 to 3 months because at that point I was just doing it for fun. I wasn't doing it intentionally. I wasn't doing it for a purpose. I wasn't doing it for a goal. I was just doing it because it was fun and it was something I could do in my spare time, but I had no intention on being serious about it. And it wasn't until summer 2020, after posting maybe 2 or 3 videos, up until that point, I actually had a dream. And so I do believe that God can speak in dreams. I know for me and myself, he has spoken to me very vividly in dreams before. I believe God is omniscient, and I believe that he is all-knowing and all-seeing, and he is infinite. And so I know just the way the voice of my Father speaks to me personally. So I did have a dream one night. And in that dream, I was like in this all white room, and I know that it was like the throne room, and though I couldn't see anything, nothing was tangible, it was just like all white. And I just like describe it as the essence of like love and purity and just holiness. And I was in this room, and though I like really couldn't tangibly see anything, it was all white. It was just like me in this white room, and I couldn't audibly like hear the Lord. I couldn't physically see him, but I knew I was before the presence of God. And it makes me emotional, which you guys know I get very emotional, but in this dream, I was before God, and like I said, though I didn't hear it necessarily audibly, I knew God had told me that, Bree, you are going to start having a second stream of income, and that your voice is going to be used for my kingdom to impact and touch thousands and thousands of people. And cut to the next part of the dream, I see a good friend of mine, and she's sitting on this picnic table, and behind her are like rolling fields of like flowers and just meadows, and it's a beautiful picture. And she's like looks up at me from this beautiful picturesque view in the background, and she goes, "Yes, Bree, like you are going to have a second stream of income." And so I wake up from this dream and I'm like, okay, Lord, like this is awesome, but what the heck does that mean? I have no idea. And so I started like evaluating things. I was like, you know, I used to be a photographer. I used to do that more as like a full-time job. And I was like, maybe this means I'm meant to get back into photography. Maybe this means I'm meant to pick up a whole new hobby. I don't know. But then, you know, a day or two later, as I was praying over the statement of, you are going to use your voice for my kingdom in order to impact thousands of people, I just felt like, oh my gosh, I think it's YouTube. I know it's YouTube, because my voice and the confidence in who I am when I'm speaking, who I am when I walk into a room, like that is a huge part of my redemption story. I had a voice that once trembled. I had a worth that was once shattered. I was once so insecure, and the moment I started following Jesus, he redeemed everything. I've never been more confident in my voice. I've never been more confident in what I have to say. I've never been more confident in the truth that I believe. And I've always known too that I wanted to start my own business and be my own business owner. And I never had a product in mind that I wanted to start or to create, but my voice and the gift of my voice is something that I know that I can give and contribute here on this earth. And more than my voice to just speak on anything, my voice to speak and to share the love and truth of Jesus. And so that is what led me here to this day. That's what led me to start my YouTube channel, and not just start it, but be consistent, because when God speaks it and he breathes it, I want to be obedient in that invitation. He invited me into something that is much bigger than myself. He invited me into a plan, into a purpose that is so beyond what I even imagined for myself. But I know that I can't not be faithful here, because if God is calling me to it, I want to see him through it. And it reminds me of Jeremiah 29:11, and I actually have it here on my phone. Let me pull it up for you guys. But Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future." And that's exactly what God did for me. He gave me, a once shy and trembling girl, a hope in a future, and he gave me plans to prosper me. And so that is why I am here before you guys today on YouTube and pursuing a big God-sized dream that on my own and in my flesh seems impossible. Seems like there's no way I can be capable or worthy or strong enough to be on this platform and to profess the name of Jesus, but through God and through his strength and through what he's done in my life, that is the only reason why I'm here sitting before you. And that is the only thing that has given me the motivation, the discipline, the perseverance, and the endurance to be faithful on this platform. I have so many people ask me, like, how are you so consistent? Like, how do you do this? Like, you're so good at always posting videos. And I'm like, you guys, like, it is the Lord. It is the Lord. Like, this is his dream. And I'm simply walking in the invitation that he's extended towards me. Like, if it weren't for what God had spoken, I would have guaranteed given up and just stopped long ago. But God has been foreshadowing this dream since the moment I started following him. From the moment I posted my first YouTube video 4 or 5 years ago till now, like, God has been foreshadowing what he's been wanting to do, and he's just bringing into alignment the desires of my heart, the redemption of my story, and the purpose that he has established specifically for me. So I pray that you guys enjoy this story time. I pray that that all made sense, and I pray that if anything, this could be deeply encouraging for you. If you have any big God-sized dreams, know that there is nothing off limits with the Lord. If your dream is tangible, if your dream is realistic, it's probably not big enough, because God's dreams are way bigger than anything we can imagine. And I think for me, like, more than trying to look ahead and like run ahead, I've just been enjoying the present journey of where God has me. I don't really have any specific goals or specific outcomes outcomes. Of course, like there are things that I would desire and things that I would hope for, but more than anything, I'm like, God, I just want to be faithful to what you've called me in this present moment. And if that is YouTube, and if that is being consistent, and if that is touching people by sharing God's truth, then that's what I want to do. And wherever you want to lead me beyond this, like, you go for it, God. But in the meantime, like, I'm going to pursue what is right in front of me, and that is YouTube. So I pray that you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you guys for just inviting me this space to share it and to share my story and to share this truth. And it is so good. And even all that I've shared, like, that is a fraction and a portion of the infinitely more details there are to that story. God is in every single detail, and he never fails to completely amaze me in the way that he just authors a story for the benefit of our good. He's always working all things together for our good, and I've seen that to be so true in my life and in the purpose he's put before me. But as always, I love you guys so much. Thank y'all for watching and listening to me. As always, you guys are the most patient listeners. But I will see you guys in my next video. I love y'all so much. And as always, Jesus loves you more. Until next time, guys. Bye.